Hello lovelies, so I'm back. I'm going to do round 2. This is the dirty pour that I did yesterday. I added some more of the sparkle on top because the sparkle that was in the painting mostly kind of disappeared. So it looks a little bit gaudy right now, but that's okay because it's just going to be covered up with other resin and kind of shine through it, which is what my original intention was anyway. And this painting has some nice detail, but not terrible, not a lot, not a terribly much detail. So that works because it's really just the base layer, right? So it's got some nice tones, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up on some of those tones and just build some layers. So I'm going to go with a really nice dark brown, the one that I had yesterday. So colors I'm going to mix today. Dark brown. Oh, I've just got my resin, just finished mixing my resin over here. So I'm just going to wipe my mixer off. Things are shifting around here. I use butcher paper or parchment paper on the table to keep the drips of resin from getting onto the table, and I tried wax paper but it didn't work as well, so now I only ever use parchment paper, and it's just fabulous because if you want to keep the drippings for anything, which is really fun, then there's usually a ton of it all around on the table. So it peels off really nicely and it's nice and smooth on the bottom, so you can use it for other projects if you choose. A lot of people make pendants and things like that. Okay, so now one thing that I'm going to do differently today that I didn't do with the dirty pour is I'm not going to mix the colors right away because I don't want them to blend at all at first. And instead of pouring them onto a layer of clear to encourage them to spread, I don't really want that. I'm going to layer them as they are onto the cured painting, and then I'm going to add the clear, and it'll spread a little bit, but it won't spread as much as it did yesterday. So that way I can kind of keep more of the composition the way that I want it to. So right here is the raw umber. That is that nice dark brown. Very neutral brown. So I'm going to add that. And I think I'm going to add the gold that I used yesterday as well. And I might add one color just for a bit of contrast. The tough thing with that is sometimes it can be too contrasty and make your color scheme kind of not work. Which, you know, I mean, you can always fix it because you can always pour another layer, but I would like to introduce another color that will just sort of accent this nice peachy color that I've got here without sort of screwing up the color palette. So in my mind right now, I just thought maybe like a really dark blue, like maybe like a navy blue, something that's along this color tone, really cold and not well, let me put it this way, it's going to be a neutral like the brown, right? So it'll work with all the different colors. So there's the gold, this is the gold pigment, this is brown, and then I'm going to get that navy blue. So this is the color I'm thinking. It's a craft paint from Michaels. Nice and neutral. It'll go with anything, and it'll go beautifully with this color and with the brown. Something that I like to do though, so if I'm lacking inspiration for colors, is Pinterest. If you've ever been on Pinterest, you'll find that there are fabulous color combos on there. You just look up color inspiration or color palettes or whatever, and you come up with all kinds of really great ideas. And some of them work, some of them don't. I usually try and do new ones on small pieces, because I have had some of them that look fabulous on those pictures and look like baby poo. When they actually get onto canvas, they just do not work on canvas. For whatever reason, the colors don't translate all that well, or if they mix at all, it just looks really bad. So there we go. So that's a nice color combo, I think. Okay, so what I want to do, I think, is start with something really dark here and just kind of work my way out. So I'm going to pour a little bit there and just kind of, there we go. Now this is going to spread quite a lot. I don't want to cover up much of this space here because I quite like it. And then I'm going to take my brown and I'm going to follow that same line there. And a little bit here. It's okay if I cover up the glitter because the glitter is, I just want it peeking, right? I don't want it to be the end all and be all of what's showing through the painting. Okay, and then I've got my gold here, so I'm just going to drizzle the gold, I think, which makes for some really lovely little curly Q effects there, or whatever you, I don't even know what you call that, but I love it anyway. Whatever it is, it's beautiful. So, okay. Now that I've got that laid down, I'm going to add a little bit of clear here. And I want to keep a little bit of this area sort of as a negative space, because if I add too much color to it, it's going to lose the composition and it's just going to look really crazy busy. It's really fun to drizzle clear over colored areas too. You can, I don't know if you can see very well, but the way it looks when it goes over that gold there kind of spreads it out and makes it look deeper. So that's fun. What it will do though is it'll spread this all out. If you add too much, it's going to keep pushing it outwards. So I don't want to add too much in the middle there. Mainly just want to fill up the areas around the edges here where I haven't got stuff going on. And I'm going to grab a spoon. And just move my clear around. It's okay if a little bit of color gets in there. I don't want too much color. Like I said, I want to keep it sort of as a neutral, negative space. But at the edges here, it'll be really beautiful if you mix it a little bit. It'll add to the motion of the piece. I use a spoon because it's not flat, so it's easier for me to manipulate the resin. With a flat object, you kind of have to hold it, you know, like that, and if you just want a little part of it, it's a little trickier, so that's why I use the spoon. Get some of that clear in there. Okay, and this area here is the only part that's not really, this looks very kind of royal to me right now, I think. The navy blue and the gold and the brown, I really like it. It's actually not a color scheme I've used before, but it looks really good, I think. Now, one thing that's fun to do once you've poured it all on, you've got your clear and everything, is to tilt it. Because the movement, and the nice thing about these boards is that you can bend them, right? Which is awesome for if you want to move specific parts and not other parts. I don't really want the resin to go off the edges, the colored resin, to go off the edges too much. So I'm leaving it a little bit curved there, so it's going to encourage it to go down the middle, and it'll go off the edges this way instead of off that way, so that I don't lose the negative space areas there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I've got these three colors again, and I'm going to mix just a little bit of each in here, tiny bit of each. A little bit more gold. Okay. Mix it once, just a little tiny stir. And now I'm going to pour a ribbon across. That's beautiful. I love that. Okay, I think I don't want to do much else with this layer. Really short videos, but if I do too much, again, it's gonna screw up the composition. So the only thing I don't like is that there's maybe a little too much in here. I would like to have a little more clear there. So I'm gonna put some clear. I really like to be able to see that color underneath. Seems like a huge waste of resin to pull it off the canvas like that, but I like that better with a little bit of that pink showing through. So, and this stuff sometimes I use for a little mold that I have that's like a little bowl mold. I use the runoff or the extra color that I have that isn't being used for anything else. Just want to make sure that all the edges get covered. It's not a huge deal for this layer because once again I can pour another layer, which I will probably be doing in the next few days, but it makes it more smooth if all the edges are covered the first time. Okay, I'm going to leave that. It's going to continue to move, and that's great. We'll see what it does. It's going to make hopefully some more patterns as it moves along, but I don't want to change it too much. So that's it for today. Second layer, and I'll be back for layer 3. Bye.